Hi, friend. How are you?
Hi, good, Hugo. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining me and Destino. I'm really happy to have you because I wanted to talk and celebrate about your work on Bob Hearts Abishola specifically, more because it's been award nominated for Emmy and Art Directors Guild Awards. So can you please share with us your experience over there and can you start with your name and what you do?
Sure. My name is Francoise Cherry-Cohen, and I was the art director and production designer on Bob Hearts Abishola.
Great. And Uh, what's like a typical day for you on like the first episode of the season, especially coming back after the pilot? What do you look for in the script?
Well, when we came back after the pilot, it was challenging because for the pilot we had two stages,
Mhm.
and when we went into series, we had one stage, and we were not shooting with an audience. So we basically had a center camera aisle and sets on either side of that.
Mhm.
So we were able to really explore and have larger sets than on a typical multi-camera show with an audience.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this specific show because it was such a hybrid, or it is
Yeah.
about it brings the multicam side, which we're used to, and the single cam side, and it's kind of merged together. So, what was kind of like some of the challenges that you worked on?
Well, it revolved around a hospital. So
Yeah.
we had like a nurse's station, we had patient rooms, so we did a lot of medical sets.
Hmm.
So that's always challenging because you want them to look real.
Yeah.
So we actually used a lot of real materials that are used to build hospitals in terms of like bumpers for the walls, windows for the doors,
Hmm.
hardware for all of the doors. And we really tried to make it look real and realistic. Our other main sets were factory sets
Uh-huh.
because Bob was the owner of a sock compression company.
Right.
So we had his office and the warehouse. So that was really challenging because warehouses tend to be big and spacious, and we wanted to create that and on set and have our set look like it was just really um, expansive. So, and I think one way we did this is we had really tall walls, and we
Hmm.
actually had a staircase that went up to like a second level, which is where the office is.
Yeah, I got an opportunity to walk your sets from time to time, and that was one of the like incredible differences between what I typically have seen and stuff that you worked on was that the sets were larger than we're used to, but that was because you guys were able to work with that space and
Yes.
it really took you into that world.
Right. And because it was a hybrid, it was multi-camera. So we had four cameras, but
Hmm.
because we weren't shooting with an audience,
Yeah.
we basically rehearsed, shot, blocked, all together.
Hmm.
So, and in that case, because we didn't have an audience, we were able to put up fourth walls. So we were able to enclose our whole set.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a different way.
One of the sets that really stood out to me, and I never got to really see that in person, but you guys on the show had to go visit Nigeria. So how was that experience of like recreating all of that?
Yeah, that was really just fun, colorful episodes. And we did so much in Nigeria. We created houses, so we did a lot of research,
Mhm.
and because it had a specific look to it.
Mhm.
We had to do the Nigerian airport, which was this huge set that we set up on the back lot. So that was really challenging. And also because the airport is a real place.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of research, and we wanted it to look um, correct and look like the airport there. So that was really fun. We did a Nigerian marketplace,
That,
which
yeah,
was
that one.
so fun. It had little stalls of different vendors. And that was just really fun and colorful. And we shot that on the back lot. And I think that looked really nice.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about like your team and who supports you because that like the art department, it depending on the show, it could be small, big or small, but can you touch on that?
Well, here at Warner Brothers on a multi-camera show, the art departments tend to be smaller. Usually it's a production designer and an assistant art director or art director.
Mhm.
If we would need graphics, we had to source out that because we weren't able to have a full-time graphics person on our crew. So
Mhm.
basically, it's the production designer and one other person creating everything, doing
Yeah.
everything. Once in a while, we were fortunate enough to have a PA,
Mhm.
um, and that was nice. And we got a PA when we had multiple shows going on. So the person was kind of split between the different shows. But for the most part, it was just, for example, last 3 years of Bob, it was me and my assistant, Gail Russell.
Go Gale.
Go Gail.
Um, Great. Yeah, the other part, the other side of that was I wanted to ask you about who are those that you collaborate with or report to or get final approval from, for example, on a show like Bob Hearts Abishola, on like these brand new Nigeria sets,
Yeah,
who was there to give you feedback or to give you final approval?
sure. We all get our information from like the line producers. They'll
Hmm.
feed us information on sets. Then
Yeah.
we'll go back, put some research together, submit research boards to them on a kind of look that we're going for.
Yeah.
And that board will go to, say, the head writer. They kind of look through, a lot of times we'll number our pictures and they can kind of pick out
Yeah.
what they like or dislike. And then the next process is designing. So we design something, we put it on paper, and we like to do white models. So it's a three-dimensional white model of the sets, and then we like to show those to our producers. I think it visually helps them to see the sets three-dimensional.
Yeah, I remember those very clearly helping you out on Big Bang Theory. So
Yes,
I'm glad to touch on this topic. I wanted to ask you about how you got your start to becoming a production designer.
sure. Let's see. My background is in technical theater, stage design. So I have a BA in that, and I've also taken a few classes through the UCLA extension programs. They have some wonderful classes there to take. And it's very difficult, I think, to get into the entertainment industry. And
Mhm.
I didn't really know anyone. I had a friend that was working in production, and he had just graduated the year before me. And so when I graduated, I said, "Oh, can you find me a job there?"
Mhm.
And he got me a job here at Warner Brothers. I started off doing clerical work in purchasing. So I met a lot of great people. It was you got to know the law, all the different departments. It was really a great place to be to learn the lot. And then eventually I got a job in the main art department at Warner Brothers. And when I had my job there, they knew my background and what I wanted to do. And they kind of helped me and guided me to get into the union and to start working on multi-cameras. And basically, for the most part, my first job was with John Schaffner,
Mhm.
and it's very rare that you're with someone for as long as we were together.
Right.
But for the most part, we were together for about 30 years, and it was really all at Warner Brothers. And I think that's also very rare because most of the time you're moving around from studio to studio, you're working with different people, but we kind of just fell into place here.
Yeah, that was another topic that I wanted to touch on, just like different experiences on other shows. And so like how would you compare that experience with Bob, for example, a typical multi-camera show like Big Bang Theory, kind of how do they function differently?
Well, because Bob was a hybrid without an audience, we were able to just kind of mix it up a little bit. We had four walls. We did a lot of four wall sets. We didn't have the audience, so we didn't have to do the show from beginning to end in order. So
Mhm.
we basically camera blocked and pre-shot the whole thing out of order. So we kind of mixed it around a little bit, and it seemed to take, I mean, we basically shot for 2 straight days. Where on a multi-camera, you're camera blocking for one day and shooting for one day, and then you're shooting in front of an audience for, like a half a day.
Yeah.
So the time lapse was much greater. You had more time in a set, I think. Whereas when you're shooting with an audience, you run your scene maybe two, three times if that, and then you move on to the next scene. And
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know your journey pretty well,
yes,
and I just want to see if you have any words of encouragement or recommendations for those who are inspired to be a production designer.
sure. Yeah. I would just be persistent. Just really push it, be persistent. Don't take no for an answer. Just keep on coming back and keep on, if you're cold calling, keep on calling, send out your resume and just be persistent. I think it'll pay off. Don't give up.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate you talking to us about your experiences and everything that has been going on. I know you're on a new show for Netflix and it's still unreleased, so hopefully we can chat to you about that
Love
at a
to.
later time.
Yes, I'm pretty proud of it. So.
Okay. Well, thank you, Fran. I appreciate you.